Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to toilet train your puppy. This also applies to older dogs, rescue dogs, maybe a dog you've already got that just needs training. The reason that I am doing all of this stuff again now is not because we've got a puppy, but because Hump's here that's lying on the floor. He's a rescue dog from Korea. He hasn't lived a normal dog life, and so I've had to train him in all kinds of things to do with living in a house, and one of them is toilet training him. So with a puppy, the first thing that I always do, and I've always done this for many years, is use puppy pads. Now there's something in them, I don't know what, but something in them that attracts the puppy. Always worked. Now I'm not using these with I did use them in the beginning during the night with Humps, but I'll talk about that in a minute. That mark on there is just dirty mud that Hump's just put on there. I wouldn't use these with adult dogs. This, what I'm about to tell you, I wouldn't use it with an adult dog because there's too much. They will do too much piddle, and you don't want that. But for puppies, this is ideal because, like I said, they've got something in them that attracts the puppy. Now, I don't know why it works, but I've been doing this for maybe 20 years, and it does work. So I always use puppy pads. You can get them. I just get them on Amazon. Big box of them on Amazon, and they've just got like this nice soft top to it, and then it's plastic underneath, so it doesn't go right through. The other thing to remember with a puppy is they don't actually do that much piddle. They're only little. They don't actually do that much. So these work absolutely perfectly. And also the thing to remember with a puppy is they will squat. Whether if they're a boy or a girl, to start with, they will squat. They won't be lifting their leg until a bit later on. And so at this stage, it works perfectly. They're not going to be, peeing up things or anything like that. And it's absolutely perfect. Now, what you do need to remember is, and this counts for puppies and for bigger dogs, is that you need to be watching your dog. And your dog will give you very clear signs that they need to go to the toilet. And if it's an older dog, then that's your cue to say your words and open the door. If it's a puppy, you've got two options. Now, you've got to remember with a puppy, their bladder is tiny. And they can, in the beginning, they just can't hold it. They just can't. And so you need to go for whatever is the quickest method to you. There is no point, if you've got suppose I had a little tiny puppy here playing now, and he's suddenly started sniffing around or circling as signs that they need to go. There is no point in me picking him up now when he's showing that he needs to go and putting him out the back door, because he's not going to make it. So all that's going to happen is he's going to pee on his way to the back door as I'm carrying him there, not understand why he's been put out, and you haven't taught him anything. But what you can teach him nice and clearly is that if you put him onto the puppy pad, you can just pick him up, pop him on the puppy pad, he'll do his piddle on the puppy pad or whatever it is he needs to do, and then you reward him, good boy, give him a little treat, and he will know that that's good. And then what you do is, what I've always done is I slowly move the puppy pad closer and closer and closer to the door. Now, the thing with puppies is they will go to the toilet after they've eaten, after they've slept, and after they've played. Like I said, years after years after years, that's just what happens. Now, they will sometimes go, other times, but if they've eaten, slept, or played, the chances are that they're going to need to go to the toilet. And so what you need to do is, when either of these things have happened, take your puppy outside in the garden and wait. Now, this is not a quick process. Getting a puppy is not something to do if you are in a rush and extremely busy. It takes time. So take the dogs outside and wait. And you might have to wait quite a long time, but you have to wait. They will go, and you've got to wait until they go. And then when they go, lots of praise, and I always give my dogs treat. Now, if you've got a choice of when to get your dog, it would make much more sense to get a dog when the weather is nice, because you're going to spend a lot of time standing outside, and you don't want to be doing it when it's dark and cold and wet. But if it works out, as it did, well, we got Humps in the summer, so we were fine. But so that's what you need to do with a puppy. Now, if you've got an older dog like we have with Humps, now what happened was with him, when he got here, he was piddling around the house. I imagine an awful lot of that was to do with scenting and the fact that I have 2 other dogs. My other 2 dogs, I've puppy trained them the way that I'm telling you now, and they are perfectly house trained, no problems at all. So Humps came along and he was just piddling around the house. It also could have been nerves. He came from the most horrific abuse. So what I had to rely on was watching him a lot. And so any circling behaviour, any excessive sniffing around, straight up. Now, my word is piddle. Do you want to go for a piddle? All the dogs are looking at me like, what are you talking about? Do you want to go for a piddle? Outside for a piddle, and jump up. Outside for a piddle, nice and happy. Outside for a piddle, open the door and go out. And I've been doing that with him, and it's worked a treat. And the other thing that's really important is that every time he's eaten, every time if he's just woken up from sleeping, or if he's been playing, not just like now where he's just lying here chewing his toy, but if he's been playing, you know, like tug. I don't play tug with him, but if you've got a puppy or a dog that you're a little bit more sort of energetic play. So with Hump, so when he's woken up, when he's eaten, I make sure that back doors are open. Now at the moment, as I'm recording this, it's November and it's quite cold, but that's just tough. That's life. I rescued this dog, and that's how it's got to be. And so when he's eating his dinner, well, all of my dogs will go to toilet after they've eaten. So when they're eating their dinner, I have the back door wide open, and they all go out to toilet. Now, obviously, it helps massively that I've got other dogs that are house trained, because he has copied them, and I know that he's gone out in the garden and I've watched him and he's copied what they're doing. And that's helped no end. But if you just got an adult dog that isn't going to toilet, it's your job to make sure that you're watching him, but really concentrate on hitting those areas. And if you hit the areas, so remember, it's after they've eaten, when they've woken up, night or day, or not during the night, but like in the morning and then during the day, and if they've been playing energetically. If you get those 3 points and always go and open the back door after those 3 points, they will get into the habit of only going to toilet at those times. So when Humps first came to us, he didn't have any routine and he was going to toilet whenever he wanted. So I was having to watch him like a hawk. But then he's learned that after his dinner, he can go whenever he wants to go, but he's just got into the routine of going when he first wakes up in the morning. Then they have the breakfast. Then he goes straight after his breakfast outside. Then we go for our walk. And then he doesn't really go again until lunchtime, because he has a sleep all morning. Lunchtime he wakes up, he goes out again. And so between me and him, we've just worked out the routine. In the beginning, I had to make sure that everybody in the house knew that whenever Humps walked into the kitchen, the back door must be opened, because he didn't have a way to tell us that he needed to go to toilet. So like my other 2 dogs, they do need to go, and it isn't a normal time for them to go. They'll just go and sit by the back door. But Humps didn't have that way of teaching us. Well, now he's learnt that, and he knows if he goes and stands by the back door, somebody will come and open it for him. But in the beginning, have the back door open as much as you can, so that you never miss an opportunity for them to go out. Now, if you wonder what's going on behind me, it's this. Now, when your dog or your puppy, right, so let's go back to the puppy for the moment. So when you've got a puppy and they go to toilet on the puppy pad, or they go to toilet outside. So it's really, really clear that you pick your word. So whatever you want your word to be. So like I said, for me, it's piddle. So that if he went on the puppy pad, it would be good piddle, good boy, good piddle. All my dogs are looking at me like, what are you talking about? No one's doing a piddle. And why would they be in the house? But, you really, really reward it. And have yourself a pot of treats. Now, when my boys were, I said the T word. When my boys were tiny puppies, that I would have a little pot of teas. I can't say the word, Treats, you know what I mean. And every time they went and did to go to toilet, I would praise them and give them one of these teas. Then obviously as they got older, we stopped that, and that was the end of that. But when Humps came along, I had to start the pot again, and so every time he would go outside. I didn't want any toileting inside at all. There were no puppy pads down for him. Every time he would go outside to go to toilet, I would give him I can't say the word because my boys are all going to think they can have one. You know what I mean? Treats, yeah? So the thing you give them to reward them. And I've got that pot back. I've got that pot again, and I've put them. Now what I do is I actually use cat treats. You know, Dreamy's cat treats. They work. The dogs love them. And there's nothing wrong with them. There's no reason. They're higher protein than dog treats. But there's no reason why you can't give your dog them. And they absolutely love them. But more importantly, they smell good, but they're absolutely tiny, which means that, you know, if you are giving them quite a lot, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. Never, ever, 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 I can't emphasise this enough. No, Humps, we can't. You looked, didn't you? We can't emphasise this enough. Tell a dog off if he's gone to toilet in the wrong place. I've seen so many times that the dog thinks what you're telling them off for is going to toilet. And what they end up doing is they end up going to toilet when you're not around, because they think if you see them going to toilet, you're going to tell them off. They do not know that it is that they mustn't go to toilet in the house. They think it's that they mustn't go to toilet. And so what they end up doing is they end up going to toilet in the house, but hiding and going when you aren't looking. So you don't know they've done it. You can't deal with it. It's a real mess. And the dog just doesn't do well with your trust. The dog doesn't trust you. The dog is scared of you. So don't ever, I've never, ever, ever tell a dog off for going to toilet in the house. I've seen it so many times where you can set up really bad behaviours. And trust me, I've seen it so many times. People saying to me, the puppy's going to toilet behind the sofa. And when you're not there, because you've told them off for going. Well, they don't know why. They don't know. They think you've told them off for going. So I never tell them off for going in the house, but only reward for going outside the house, or in the case of a tiny puppy, going on the puppy pad. They soon learn. Dogs are, they get it. They soon learn that they need to go to toilet in that place, and that's when you get the reward. What are you moaning at? Are you house trained? You turned out all right, didn't you, darling? It all worked for you, didn't it? Yeah, I know. What have we got to say? We can't be trying to you. We've got videos to make. Yeah, I know. So that's the puppy pad situation down here, and that was no, you mustn't do that. So that's the situation for, now this is going off subject a little bit, but if you've got a puppy that's barking at you for attention, so Harry's not a puppy, he's 6, he should know better. See how I just turned away from him, focused on Humps, and he just got it, it didn't get him attention. So that's really important. So now I'm going to go upstairs with you and tell you how things work upstairs. So everything I've just told you that works is for downstairs. Something I do just want to say is, if you've got a choice of where you're going to set your puppy up to play, try to get it as near a back door as you can. So you see here, so this is my sitting room. This is where, if I had a tiny little puppy, this is where my tiny little puppy would play. This is where Humps has set himself up and plays. And then you can see I've got a back door right there. So it's nice and easy for them to just go in and out. Because remember, with a puppy, they're tiny little bladders. They can't hold it. Harry, what's the matter? You can get your toy yourself. Yeah, you can. You can get your toy yourself. Do you know you're on YouTube? Do you know? Yeah, it's my Humps. You're doing really well, aren't you, Humps? You are doing so well. So I'm going to go upstairs now and show you how things work at night time. So what I've just showed you is during the day, and then we'll talk about night time. Okay, so I always let puppies and new dogs sleep in the bed with us. I just think you get much better behaved, just all-round animals if you let them sleep in the bed with you. When a puppy is crying at night because you've left him down in the kitchen, that isn't because he's being naughty. That's because he is really, really scared. And so I always let puppies and new dogs sleep upstairs with us to be with the pack. That's just a natural thing. Albert, what are you doing, darling? What are you doing in there? Now, the other thing I will say is, when you get a new puppy, I always take off my nice bedding and get bedding just like this, and I don't care if it gets really mucky, because, as you can see, it's going to. As the dogs get older, I do things to have them not sleeping on the bed. So I will put their beds on the floor, and they will happily sleep on them when they're older. But when they're really new to you, whether an adult or a puppy, sleeping with the pack, I just think it's really important, especially when they're a tiny little puppy. Now, the thing is, with any bed, It's a high distance for a little puppy to get off. And you need to make their exit from the bed onto the floor as quick as possible so that they can go down onto the puppy pad as quickly as they can. And so this is what we do. Now, this is also important because you don't want puppies falling off beds, broken legs and all sorts of stuff happen. So this is what we do. Now, the reason I've got it at the moment is because, like I said, we've got Humps. He's an adult dog. But when we first got him, he had the most awful problems with his back legs. Sorted out lovely now, it's great. So he can't just jump up and on and off this bed. He needs something to help him. So this is what we use, and so it's just breeze blocks. So for an adult dog like this, for Humps, this is what he needed. But for a puppy, that from there to there is too high. So for a puppy, I would make it much longer. So I would bring it out and make it longer. So make the first step be one breeze block and then make it high. So you're basically just making steps. You can buy steps and ramps and slopes and that sort of stuff, specially made for this. But why, when you can get breeze blocks? And then you can use them for years and years to come with what other dogs come to you in the future. Now I just cover it up with a pretty blanket and that's nice and easy. So basically your puppy, he can't hold his piddle, remember that. He can't hold his piddle. I'll show you in a minute the setup at the bottom of the bed. That's where I put the puppy pads while they're in training mode. And so you just need to make it so they can get on and off the bed as easy and quickly as possible. Because if they can't get off the bed, they won't make it and they'll piddle on the bed. And as I said earlier, never tell them off for that. Now, I never ever, let's just have a look a little Albert. I never ever let a puppy out to go to toilet at night time, outside, because I never want to train a dog to go outside to toilet at night time. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to be woken up in the night. I just don't want it to happen. Now, ideally, an adult dog should not be going to toilet at night time. They shouldn't be going outside and they shouldn't be going to toilet at night time. And, oh, excuse me, my microphone's fallen off. Yeah, so you shouldn't, adult dog should not be going out to toilet at night time. And I'll talk about that again a bit in a minute. But I never ever take a puppy outside during the night because you're just teaching him really, really bad behaviours. So I want to show you this setup. So this is my setup for my dogs at night time. So our bedrooms are along this corridor and then their beds are along the corridor as well. Now they can get into the bedrooms if they want to, but the idea being that their beds are so nice and cosy that they would rather sleep out here on their beds, and it's worked a treat. And a dog will quite happily go from the transition of sleeping on your bed to sleeping in his own bed if he has access to you. He's not on his own, he's with his pack and he likes his bed, and Albert here is more than happy to come out here and sleep on his bed at night time. No problems at all. Right, so this is how I would set up a puppy pad. So we don't have puppy pad now because Humps is doing really well, but in the beginning we did have to have them. If you've got carpet, personally, I think if you've got dogs, you need to get rid of your carpets and have nice flooring, because carpets and dogs, I just don't think they work at all, especially not puppies. But even if you've got a perfectly house-trained dogs, they can be sick. Get a dog with a diarrhoea, which you will have at some point, explosive diarrhoea, and it's a horrendous mess. And it's no one's fault. It's just the way it sometimes happens. If you've got a carpet, I like to know my floors are really clean, and I can't achieve that with carpets. So I just don't have carpets because I've always got dogs. But what I want to show you is, if you do have carpets, this is what I would recommend you do. Get a piece of lino like this and put the lino underneath the puppy pad, just in case there's any runoff or anything like that happens, or they miss the puppy pad because it's dark or anything like that. You've just got the lino as backup underneath it, and if you need to, you can put it up against the wall like we have here. Now, when a dog, right, so if you've got a puppy and he's got to a point where he's lifting his leg when he goes to toilet, he shouldn't still be needing to go to toilet at night time. So you shouldn't need to have puppy pads down. If you're training an adult dog who is still going to toilet at night time, and he's lifting his leg, the dog should not need to go to toilet during the night. And so often I see dogs, the owners say to me, well, my dog's going to the toilet during the night and I don't know why. So often that is because they're being fed dry biscuits. Right, now, so dry food will always make your dog want to go to the toilet during the night because it makes them drink so much more. So I always say, get them off the dry food and you'll sort the problem out. Now, I actually don't agree with feeding dogs dry food at all. I think it's really bad for them and I don't agree with it at all. And I have done a whole video about that. What I'll do is, you know the little box that comes in up at the bottom of the end of this video, I will put the video in there for a video that I've done talking about how to understand the ingredients in dog food, and it's really worth watching it if you don't know about it, because it's just stuff you wouldn't know and stuff that you can really avoid harming your dog with. It's not complicated. I've kept it really, really simple. But so often when people are having problems with their dogs wanting to go out to the toilet during the night, it's because they're feeding them a dry food and therefore they've drank so much more. I have people contacting me saying that trainer or behaviourist or whatever has told them to take water up so the dog can't drink during the night or in the evening. Right, let's just get this straight. That is cruel. Straight out cruel. If a dog feels the need to drink, he needs to drink. He's not just drinking for fun. He's drinking because he's thirsty, and that is his basic requirement, his basic need. He has every right to drink. So please don't ever take water away from a dog at any time. I have water accessible to my dogs day and night, all the time, bowls everywhere. Please don't do that. It's really, really bad advice. It's cruel. The advice they should be giving you is to get your dog onto a food where they're not drinking so much that they're needing to go to toilet. And that comes down again, making sure that your dog is in a routine where you've taken them out before they've gone to bed. So I feed my dogs at 4 o'clock so that they've they've eaten, it's all digested, they've had a good drink or whatever, and then they go out to toilet then, and then before we settle down for the evening, I take them out again. They'll often ask to go out because they know it's the routine and they need to go. And if you've just got your new puppy, take him out before you go to bed, and you have to wait. You might have to wait. Luckily with these, I don't have to wait too long. And with the new puppy, you might have to wait, but take him out and wait for him to go to the toilet, and then you've helped yourself out there. But I just would never ever get into the habit of taking your puppy actually out in the garden during the night, because not only, so if you sort their food out, you should get to a puppy is going to need to go to the toilet during the night. There's no thing about that. But you don't want to be out in the garden at 3 and 4 in the morning. You don't want that. You need your sleep. To be a good dog owner, you need to have had a really good night's sleep. It's exhausting having a puppy, and you need to have your good night's sleep. So if he learns that he can jump off the bed and that he can go down to the puppy pad, which is on the floor, and this is another really important thing, when they do that during the night, pretend you're asleep. Because if they know you're awake, they're going to expect you to give them a treat, and that's just another thing you don't want to get into the habit of. So during the night, they can go down and have a go on their puppy pad, but nobody's awake to reward it. A dog naturally does not want to go to toilet where he sleeps. So he naturally wants to go to toilet away. So you're just feeding into what's naturally instinctive to them. So the other thing is, when you first have got your puppy and he's on the bed with you and you've got the puppy pad, block off the bedroom door so that he can't just go off and go wandering all around the house. So you put a bowl of water in the bedroom so that he's got access to water, have his puppy pad, but just block him off. I've just buy fire guards. You can get some really nice decorative fire guards. It just stops dogs going from where you don't want them to go. So that's it really. I haven't got anything more to say on it, but you might have a million questions. So if you have, please contact me and ask me about them. It can in the beginning seem quite hard, but you will get there. You really will. And, before long, you'll have dogs like this, just adult dogs that know when to go to toilet. And like I said, Humps, is an adult dog and came to us and wasn't toilet trained very well. And we've sorted that out in no problem, because you're just feeding into their instincts and their natural behaviour. As long as you're doing that, feeding into the timings that are their natural times to go to toilet, you really will be okay. Please don't get angry with the dog ever. Please don't get angry. Stay nice, calm and relaxed, and you'll be fine. You'll just be fine with it, except there will be the odd mess. Get yourself some good cleaning products. Actually, I'm going to do a different video all about that, because what you clean up the mess with matters. because it can attract the dog if it's got ammonia in it and stuff like that. So I'll do a different video about that. But like I said, I'll link the video at the end now talking about food, so you can decide for yourself how you feel about dry food. But getting them off dry food is really essential to stopping them needing to go to toilet at night time. So as always, you know where I am. Twitter, I'm on Instagram. If you need anything at all, just come and ask me. It's all under Furry and Spoilt, and of course there's a comment section here. Not just to ask me questions, but anybody, if you've got any tips or advice or anything, pop it in comments. Let's all share it. And that's it. That's me done with how to toilet train your puppy. You'll get there. You will. Just stick to the rules and you'll get there. Be consistent. You'll get there. So thank you very much for watching. As always, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.